I'm going to talk about change, additions, and innovation in higher education. So where are we now? Where are we in terms of education, in terms of higher education institutions? Usually, the role of higher education institutions in the 21st century is as a source of knowledge and a source of social networking. That's the main role. And what we want really is to facilitate the students' insertion in work, to facilitate students' employability, and also provide work-like opportunities during university time. If we see this as A and B, could be A plus B or A towards B. It depends where we are and where we want to be. How to get from what higher education institutions currently do and what they should do. Well, so in that Venn diagram we have this changing, adding, and innovating. Currently, the traditional academic norms and trends are, well, we go to lectures, we go to master classes, residential learning basically is what rules on universities. The common technology that students in university use is, well, social networking, web-based application with learning purposes, and web-based social interaction. Universities use it, students use it, but we need to change some things in the way we are using both. What is needed is to update the academic norms instead of making this residential learning and this way of just having, as I am doing now in this model, in a theatrical way, just giving knowledge and students just receiving it, well, more into a workshop thing, more into students being more active, having students to participate in conferences and extracurricular activities, work-related environment, and the students basically have to be active. Technology is the same, but where's this mismatch between what we want and what we are? So the role of the students should be changed. The institutional support should be added, and the ways of interaction should be innovative. What universities give and what the students need is not always the same thing. And technology teachers and universities use are not always the same way students use it. For example, I was talking to a friend who conducted a research on the use of iPods for education. And we were thinking, well, iPod is the great invention of the century, and if it's so successful in all fields of life, why shouldn't it be in education? And some of the finding was that the iPod was so personal that students didn't want to have teachers in it. They say, why should I, if I have my music, if I have all my life, my digital life is in here, I don't want my teacher in here. So those kind of things we just take for granted. The way students see technology, the way higher education institutions see technology, it has to be reoriented. Higher education are used to the 2.0 trend. What 2.0 means in the director's seat. The students are the center of their universe, and everything spins around them, and it gives them some adding value or some support. And in the university, in the university model, the students are not in that position. Students are just like in Web 1.0. They just go check newspapers, and they cannot interact as much. It's this read-only scheme, while we want some read-write scheme like the Web 2.0 is now. Higher education students need to be prepared for the employment. So we should, as universities, we should provide some work-oriented opportunities. Higher education institutions use learning management systems, they use blogs, they use virtual communities, and students use, well, they read blogs, they use and manage CMS, they nurture their social networking profiles, they take care of them, they check emails, they use Web 2.0 services on daily basis. So we should find the way where universities, the way universities use technology doesn't interfere with the perception of students, and then adapt and find a way to make things happen. And one way to do it is by means of extracurricular activities. Extracurricular activity is a student-run activity, theme-based, decide what the activity is and solve problems. When you go to a company, the least that they expect is that you know, but what they want is that soft skill, that extra, the whole package. They want you to solve problems, they want you to take the initiative, all these soft skills that make you different from the. So knowledge, of course you have to get that knowledge, but what we really want, or what students need and what universities need to nurture is this extra value. And well, the kinds of societies I was talking to is like student-run media, so TV, student television, student radio, student newspaper, other thematical societies like young entrepreneur, robotics, mechanics, where students really do what they want. They organize themselves and they just get support from the university. This is like doing benchmarking and saying, well, what has been successful in American or British or even in German universities, like through Vereinen and so, where they get together, not in universities but in society as well, where they get together because they have an interest in common. So they just do what they want to do and they organize themselves and they form their own communities or clubs or societies and then start learning like on the job, or like being on the job. Well, just to finish this brief talk is that we need to empower students. They have this time not only to learn or to study the contents of their studies or programs, but to get this extra thing, these soft skills, this interaction, that they know if they are good leaders, that they get the opportunity to get experience while being on the university without being paid, but while being on the university and getting some work done, some things that can be considered as proper work experience, even without being in the industry. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say.